I can remember around that time, actually a few years before that, around that time, I didn't understand. I had no grid for like the supernatural. I didn't know that like Jesus still healed. And I remember I was in a studio one night. I was actually cleaning a studio one night, and the Lord said, get on your knees and pray for your daughter. And so I got on my knees and prayed for my daughter. When the Spirit lifted, like when I felt the burden of intercession lift, I got up and I got a phone call from a friend. And they're like, hey, Michelle, this is so-and-so. I have somebody that wants to pray with you for your daughter. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Because I didn't know what was going on, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure. So he calls me on three-way with this apostle. And literally, this man says, I don't know anything about you. I know, brother so-and-so told me that you have been going through some stuff with your older daughter and that you've been praying a lot for her. And I just feel like the Lord prompted me to come and pray for her. Is it okay if I pray with you for her? And I was like, yeah. So literally this man prayed verbatim, probably 98% of the prayer, words, phrases, everything, right?
Yeah,
and so when he was done, I was just blown away because this was a facet of God that I had not really seen yet, I hadn't really understood and seen that work through people yet.
Yeah.
And so that apostle introduced me into the concept that Jesus still healed, right? Because I didn't think healing was for today.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I thought he was lying to me, and I was like, no way.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
you are pulling my leg. And he's like, no, I'm not. He's like, Jesus still heals.
real, yeah.
I said, if Jesus still heals, then why are there so many sick people? And he said, and he spoke, and he said, Jesus raises the dead. And I'm like, I know you lying.
Yeah.
Because
go
if he
ahead.
still raises the dead, why are so many people dying? And his questions, my questions, and our conversation sparked something in me, and it just led from one thing to another. So to go back to outreach, as we were doing outreach and I was filming, God was putting me in situations where I started to see people on the streets healed, and my heart started getting engaged with it to where it wasn't important to me. Like what God tells me to do is very important, right? But
Yes.
my main focus was not filming anymore. My main focus began loving on the people.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I learned out there is that everybody has a story.